Grandfather talked about a lot of things that were going to come down. And, you know, all the elements of collapse are unfolding at an alarming rate. Many of you will remember me talking about the vision of the lightning owls, the 7 lightning owls. And that just happened in the fall. And we're only midway through winter right now. And look at what has happened since that vision. That vision, Grandfather warned me, when it comes, he said, everything is going to accelerate by about 4 years. In other words, we just jumped ahead 4 years during the part of that vision. And it's going to get worse. We've got to be careful that coming up as they go through the vaccines and the this and that and the other thing, and life sort of gets back to normal, that little calm before the storm, it can be very, very deadly. Don't trust it. You've got to take the philosophy of the ancient scouts. Expect the worst, prepare for the worst, and train for the worst. And if the worst doesn't happen, you're going to be better off for it anyway because of that training and preparation. You know, I hear people on the news and everything saying, if only I knew we were going to be hit this hard. You know, in the Texas area, people 12 hours to find food to feed their family. And water so scarce. I mean, it's just a taste of things to come. And anything you can do to help people out is so damn important. You know, when you think of concentric rings, as I always say, the smallest act can create a concentric ring that will continue forever sometimes. In fact, I believe they always continue forever. If you're in the middle of the woods, and you've heard me say this before, and there's nobody around, there's no trails, and you see a chunk of litter or you know, a old tin can or aluminum can, you pick it up and carry it out and dispose of it in the right way. You send out a concentric ring. It doesn't make any difference if anybody sees you do it. It sends out a ripple. We're all bound together by the Spirit that moves in and through all things. And I see this time after time. The smallest simple act can create such a ripple and sometimes such a wave. It's amazing to watch. Anyway, as Grandfather said, when and if I get that vision of the 7 lightning owls, so to speak, that things are going to accelerate beyond what I've ever imagined. And no soon after that, then everything seemed to fall apart. You know, let me explain something to you here that a lot of people don't understand why. As I've said time and time again, we're the only creatures on earth that the Creator has given a choice to. Any other creature disobeys the laws of creation is bound for extinction. But people, humankind, has given a choice. And it's basically a choice to follow the light, to do good, to help each other, to protect each other, to teach each other, lead each other, heal each other. Or we can choose to follow the darkness and do nothing, but follow our own selfish greed and lust for power. Or what most people do is do nothing. Grandfather called them the mindless gray masses. But because the Creator has given us a choice, don't expect the Creator to intervene. That's what people don't seem to grasp. You can't have a choice and then have constant intervention by the Creator. It takes away our choice. However, I'm not saying that the Creator never does that. Of course, but not as often as you think. So don't expect intervention, but expect opportunity. You just have to see it. There's an old joke, and there's a lot of reality to this joke. There's a man in a house, and there's a flood coming. And as the waters get up to his doorstep, there's a military truck come by and said, "Get on board, we'll get you out to safety." And the man goes, No, I cried up to God to save me." So they argued with him. They drove off. The water's now to the second story, and a boat comes by. And he waves off the boat. He says, "I don't need you. I prayed to God that I'll be saved." Now he's on the roof of his house. Water's up to his knees. A helicopter comes. He waves the helicopter off, saying the same thing. So, of course, you know what happened. He died. He drowned. So he gets to heaven and says to God, "I cried out for help." And God looks at him and says, "I sent you a truck, a boat, and a helicopter." There's a lot of value in that joke, in that it's our expectations. Remember, in the act of surrender, there is no thought, no emotion, no time, no destination, nor expectation. Expectation is like blinders, where you only see this much of the picture. Get rid of expectations, because they will absolutely prevent you from seeing the so many signs and omens that the Creator sends. The thing is that I'm not saying you can't cry up to the Creator for help, but that help may come in a way that you least expect it. Get rid of the expectations. A lot of times people get so caught up in the rush and din and chaos of life that they don't feel these warnings inside of them. And yes, you can say it's coming from the Creator, but oftentimes it comes from the conduit of the spirit world, or the spirit that moves in and through all things. We can't become that man in that flood, crushed by our expectations. What did he expect? A white-winged buffalo come down and sweep him off his feet or whatever? That's ridiculous. But as ludicrous as that joke sounds, people do it all the time. Even good people, children of the light, do it. They get so caught up in expectations that it overshadows everything else that gives us a possibility, gives us another route, a way to get around a wall, so to speak. What I've constantly said to people, don't think a feeling. Really feel it. Your mind is so damn powerful. As soon as you think a feeling, that is what you're going to get. Not only does it prevent you from seeing life purely every moment of every day, but it also blindfolds you, puts you in a casket of flesh, so to speak. Like I say to classes, if I told people in a class that we're going to go down to the mud near the swimming area and go crawling through the swamp, half of the people would say, oh, great, the primal ooze close to the flesh of Earth Mother. You know, this and that and the other thing. And the other half is going to, oh, the God, the leeches, the stench. They're both wrong. Because what they're doing is thinking a feeling before they even experience it. And they're so caught into what they believe is going to happen that that's what happens. So understand, certainly we look to the Creator, we look to the spirit world, we look to the Spirit that moves in and through all things for guidance. We cry up for help. But remember that we have choice. The Creator doesn't often intervene. That's not to say the spirit world doesn't. That doesn't mean to say the world of the Spirit that moves in through all things doesn't, or the earth doesn't. We just have to see it. We have to become aware of it. We have to become sensitive to it. Now, when you look at grandfather's breakdown of what's going to happen and what is happening and how it is accelerating, my God, I think back 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when I first got on this medium and I said, this is what's going to happen. And I said, I was so afraid of telling people this because I'd feel like a fool standing on 42nd Street in New York with a sign, the end is coming, the end is near. And lo and behold, everything I said back then, I've been saying since my first class back in 1978, that this was going to unfold. And it has.